Hi, it's Jill from Jilly Bean Studio. I hope you can come along today for some fun in a composition notebook junk journal. A little bit of digging into my art journal and plenty of playing with scraps. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I'm glad you're here. This is my composition notebook junk journal. I've been using it in March and April, currently 2023. Really having a blast playing with scraps. I have taken on the 100-day project and picked out my personal goal of 100 days using scraps. And lately, at the end of March, and now, oh my goodness, turning the page to the beginning of April, I have been playing with some artist trading cards. So in today's video, I hope it's going to be a fun session. I'll take you through the steps I've been using to make some, and by the end of the video, maybe you will have journaled along a bit or made some artist trading cards too. So here we go. These are a set that I made, let's see, I think towards the end of the month, like around the 26th. Yeah, and this is something that I haven't really tried in, I don't know. I altered playing cards, I guess. But actually making ATCs is something I haven't done a lot of. And as I was kind of playing around with what do I do for 100 days of using scraps, because friends, I'm realizing as much as I like it, 100 days is 100 days, right? What am I going to do for 100 days? So I was thinking about a bunch of things, and then ATCs came up as an idea. And here we go. Practically, I don't know, I'm 10 or maybe 11 days in now of making artist trading cards from scraps. I love these little bunnies. And a couple of things just to give you a heads up that I've already learned along the way, and being newish to this, is it's really great to make them in sets, because you have a bunch of scraps. It's nice to make them in sets of, 2, 3, 6, whatever it is. So that is my plan for today's video. I think I'm going to at least make a set of 2. I'm also showing you here that I have these mild liners, which are really great for the journaling part of writing and documenting in my comp notebook. I usually, again, if you're familiar with my channel, or if you're not, I do 2 to 4 pages a week, and I write about everyday stuff. So I definitely still have to do the writing part in my journal. But here we go. These are some of the ones I did in the middle of the month now, towards the end of March. And for today's session, I'm going to take you through step by step the way I've thought about it, and I just jotted my handy index card, right? I think I put everything on an index card these days, but they're so useful, about my process and what I've used for the base of the card, the background, and yeah, just some tips and ideas for you. And by the way, I'd love to hear your experience with these, what you like to make, and I hope you're grabbing a cup of whatever you enjoy and can settle in and make whatever you want to make today too. So for this part, I was thinking I would use these fun scraps that kind of might work with some of the colors on this cardstock page that came from one of the Flow books or Paper Lover books. I tend not to use these pages. They're great. They're heavier, that cardstock. That's what I want to say. But I don't know. I tend not to use them. So I thought this is the perfect opportunity to cut them up into ATC size. So I'm showing you an ATC that actually I got at the art store. I've had this in my stash, which is on a plain piece of Bristol board to give you a size estimate. And I think it would be great. I know a lot of people make master boards for their ATCs to doodle a bit on, here we go with some tea this morning, excuse me, to doodle a bit or make a master board, and then you can cut up your base for your ATC in having whatever number you want in a set. And again, I love the idea of a set because you're using the same color palette, and I think it helps with the flow when you make, 2 to 6 of them at the time. I'm also thinking, look at this beautiful, I love tea boxes and all the, packaging that we have around, right? So that would also be a fun thing to make an ATC with. So anyways, if I didn't say it earlier, an ATC is an artist trading card that is 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. And you can trade them, you can keep them, you can collect them. I think they're perfect for Happy Mail. And if you ever have an opportunity to swap with someone, what a nice thing to have an original piece of art. So this little index card is the way I've sort of thought through my process of making the base, making the background, adding details, and then sealing the ATC if I want to at the end. So I'll continue to share more about this process in the video. But the questions are kind of interesting in the beginning before you start, because if you are going to seal your ATC with, say, a Mod Podge or something, then just be careful about the pens that you use. Here's a Micron, and I know that if I seal it, it's not going to run or smudge because that is a permanent marker. So just a good tip before you begin. And then the way you want to put things down, you can use a matte medium, you can use glues and all of those sorts of things, but I'm just going directly in on a glue stick today because that's at hand and one of my favorite things to use. Now, this is where the part of the process for me is really fun, and then sometimes I really have absolutely no clue what I'm doing. I just have to start digging in my scrap pile. Do you find this happens to you? I like to have 2 boxes of scraps right on my desk. I find for me it's the sweet spot. It's not too many so that I get overwhelmed with my choices. And that's my bigger box. And then I have this smaller box with more of the littler sizes. Scrapbook paper, painted paper, the random things I stick in. Those are from the Dollar Tree that I am going to use this month. Yeah, so I would love to know, how do you organize your scraps? I'm always looking for ways to keep my art supplies nearby when I need them because that's the thing, right? I do tend to pile up things, and then I find that I'm not finding things when I need them. So anyways, this little system has worked out pretty well for me, and I would love to hear if you have any tips on what works well for you. I love tearing paper. I do have scissors nearby. Yeah. So I think for the rest of this time in the video, I hope you are grabbing whatever scraps or fun bits you have around your desk. I think that when I start to get into this playing with paper, it's, I don't know, my my blood pressure goes down. I kind of really do get into the flow. It is definitely a chill process for me. Do you find that's true for you? It really is playing. I don't have a set idea. I would say the only thing I know for sure at this point is I have the size of my ATC. I have that old scrapbook paper from, again, I think one of the Flow books, and a color palette. I think that's the one thing I'm pretty sure of that I found over the last couple weeks or so of making these is whatever I'm drawn to color-wise is really where I start. So on that index card I showed you earlier, I'm moving from the base, which would be the cardstock, the recycled boxes or Bristol board or whatever paper, and I'm now in the background stage. And the things that I find that I'm drawn to almost all the time are painty pages with mostly acrylic paints, some mark making. You'll see on the top, I think I actually used, I might have used a pastel stick for that ribbon-like pink shape, which you'll see again in a minute when I flip this over. And yeah, I'm gluing, by the way, I put down the background and then trim it, which I guess would make sense, right, in the order of things, and squish it down. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. The background papers. So I like the painted pages, book page. I use acrylic paint a lot. Origami paper I use this month. And that, I think that's an oil pastel, maybe. I'm not sure. That little bow-like squiggle. And then that was acrylic paint on, I think it was a crock pot cookbook. So magazine pages are great too. Now I'm shifting over at this point to the detail part. So part 3 for me, as I've been playing this month, is I end up collecting all these cute little bits. Ooh, look at that. That is kind of like a heart. So this stuff is from that smaller bin I showed you. And the cute little bits, I find I'm going back into, if you're familiar with the Antiquarian sticker book, this little cute little bee is from there. And the fern on the far right is from there. And I'm finding I'm going back into my stash, which is awesome. That feels so good, right? I always put glue stick on the stickers because they are not as sticky, you probably know that, as you think. And then this is the top of the tea bag. It's the tag. And that is from the peppermint tea that I am drinking right now. Not sure about this bit of string. Yeah, this is the detail part. Part 3, and you could also use stencils or stamps. You can put in words, do some hand lettering, or if you have the stickers, like I know a lot of people, and I have them somewhere, I should dig those out as well, the Tim Holtz sayings and things. And I also think these ATCs are good for quotes. It just has to be kind of short or maybe a smaller font. Yeah. So if you've made ATCs, what do you like to do? What do you find that do you do more, and I've sped the video up a bit, you probably just saw that, and I do that here and there along the way in my videos, grabbing more of a cup of tea. So what is it that you find are your go-tos? Again, speeding things up because honestly, I could play with paper for hours. There we go. I find I'm lately wanting to put words in more and hand letter. Again, speeding the video up, friends, because there's a lot of a lot of chilling out and think time while I'm doing this. There we go. And bits of book page is always something I'm drawn to as well. Okay, I think that on the right hand side for the first one is gonna be my stopping point for now. I want to quick show you for a moment, as I've been considering and really enjoying putting these in my comp notebook junk journal. I'm realizing I can't keep them all in here. And, you know, I'll probably send some of these out in Happy Mail and do some trading. But for now, storage is something I'm thinking about more. Besides keeping them in the comp notebook, I've decided to add some to my art journal, which has been getting a little lonely. So this art journal I have bound together with rings. I use that's a double hole punch, and I got that on Amazon. I actually think I saw that on Rebecca Hoot's channel, and I thought that is just a great thing. It's really inexpensive too. I've been doing here and there a bunch of different prompts just whenever I feel like it. This is from Marguerite Miller's Collage Weekly Planner. And here and there, when I just want to play with more paper, I jump into this art journal. And it's just any time. I'm not really following the weekly schedule or anything. What I decided to do was, and I had no idea, and maybe you knew this, but I did not know. ATCs are the same cards. Sorry, there's a bit of glare. Let me fix that. ATCs are the same size as baseball cards. No idea. And therefore, you can buy, you can buy these sleeves. I picked up a bunch on Amazon. Oh, sorry. It's a little noisy in the neighborhood, so I had to cut out that part. Yeah, just picked up the baseball card sleeves, and another great place to keep your ATC cards is using those. And for now, I have the overflow from the Comp Notebook Junk Journal in the art journal, and I'm loving that. And in the last part of today's video, it is now a day later, and I am having a cup of coffee. And here is how the first one turned out. I added a couple little tiny bits more of pink, but I think that one's done. And what I'm showing you now is the next day for the 100th day project, which is, I believe it's April 1st, actually. I am going to finish the set, this particular pair, with some doodling. So I wanted to take you along if you were interested in making your ATCs in sets. Isn't that cute? Very simple. So one of the other things you can add for your details is some doodling, a little bit of sketching or drawing. And I grabbed these different highlighters, brush pens. I have a couple Tombos, I have a mild liner, a Sharpie highlighter. And on the top right, I have my Micron and also a Uniball Signo gel pen. Grabbed a scrap of paper. This yellow paper is a little bit textured. But I thought it would be pretty. And I'll take you through. This is such an easy doodle sunflower. I was inspired by the one on the top right that I used in the first ATC, which, by the way, is part of one of my free printables. I'll link it below. If you go to the Ko-fi app in my banner, which looks like a coffee cup, or just click on the link, that is available for free in the month of April. And I'm hoping to add more soon to the Ko-fi app. Yeah, so anyways, very loose triangles, almost like a sunshine. And I think this will be cute to make a pair of them. Now some lines for the leaves. And again, this is a permanent fine line micron. So there will be absolutely no problem if I decide to Mod Podge or seal this with anything. Okay, I don't know why I went in with that light color there on that paper, because that's just not, you can't see that. There's the difference of the markers, all right. Let's go in with more of this gold color. I like that. And this brown mild liner makes such a nice, I like that color for the sunflower seeds. A little bit of outlining with the Signo white gel pen. And then when it dries a little bit, I go over that again. Yeah, and this one with the stem I did on copy paper. And now I kind of take down the white a little bit a second time with the highlighter. Okay, so the second in the set, the next day for 100 days of using scraps, a little bit more doodling on a leaf, added some color to the doily scraps, and I'm going to play around and glue those down, but I thought I'd take you through so you could see the process if you want to doodle as well. Thanks for joining me today. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you want to go around the edges with a little bit of inking, I did that too. So here we go. There's the pair. Really enjoyed that. I hope you're enjoying your journaling or whatever you're making. And thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate you watching.